Hi, and welcome to Come Play with Meeples. My name is Joe, and today we are continuing our playthrough of Gloomhaven, The Jaws of the Lion, and we are on to Scenario 3 called The Black Ship. As you can see, I've rearranged some of the things. I'm really hoping to bring in the things that are more critical for you to see more to the forefront. So I hope this improves. I haven't had a whole lot of comments yet on my channel. So if you have any suggestions on how to improve my production, please leave a comment and let me know. I have also now added a mic, a cheap little mic, to hopefully get better sound quality. So we're continuing our saga here. And I know I've been asking, but I haven't had any comments yet. So I have gone ahead and named our characters. I went with Danny the Demolitionist, as well as Harry the Hatchet. I also had 39 gold here for Harry after the last scenario. And I've spent 35 of them to get a couple of items here for him. So he did end up getting the healing potion and the studded leather. And for Danny here, he had 29 gold. I spent 25 of it in order to also get him a healing potion as well as the weathered boots. So we're going to continue our playthrough now, so let's get started. Hi and welcome back. So we'll first go through with reading the introduction and the new special rules here. After getting your fill of stew and plenty of rest at the Sleeping Lion, you start off early in the morning. The first order of business is looking for information on someone named Roland. He seems to be making a trade out of buying fresh corpses, and you'd like to know why. It's slow going at first, but you eventually find a pair of vermling down in the sinking market who seem overly interested in caviar disposal. After some rough persuasion, they cough up that they too are being paid by a man named Roland to deliver bodies. They even give you the drop-off location, some derelict ship at the old docks. You head down to the pier and look around. It doesn't take long to spot the suspicious vessel. Not only is it leaking some vile black liquid from the hull, but there are two men wearing red robes standing guard outside on the dock. They notice you eyeing them and begin making threatening gestures for you to move along. Looks like getting to the bottom of this is going to require cracking a few more skulls. So the special rule is make sure characters add the first two ability cards marked number 1 to their deck. So their starting hand now consists of 8 cards. So for Danny the Demolitionist, we get to add these 2 cards here called Wind Up and Crushing Weight. That will now bring his hand to a total of 8. So I've added a few extensions here to hopefully better be able to see these cards. And for Harry the Hatchet, he gets Retrieval and the Favorite. So now we get to place our characters anywhere in these 4 starting spots. So as usual, I think I will have Danny be ahead of Harry. I'll put him here. And then we do get 2 red-robed individuals. These guys are called the Zealots. Again, we're just using the basic cards for these characters. I think that's what we're going to be using throughout most of these introductory levels. But as you'll see over here, there's the giant vipers. They will be coming in later on. I did make a small goof on the last scenario. There was no door. This is the scenario that brings indoors, and it even tells me there's a door here and here. And when we step on these doors, it brings in some more text here, which you're supposed to read when that comes in later. So first off, I'll populate 2 Zealots at the open here. They're both white. So normal enemies. And then because of the door here, we don't populate the rest yet. Once that door is open, then we'll populate this area. Once this door is open, we populate the rest of this area. So one other thing for you to know is that there are a few more new rules for this whole scenario. However, we'll, again, like normal, talk about them when they come up during this scenario. So for now, we will get started, and I will pick cards for their first turn. All right, so for their first turn, I have decided for Harry here that he will use the second wind and this close cuts. So he'll have an initiative of 18. I'm not sure where to put these cards at this point. I'll just put them here where they're not being used on the map. And then for Danny, I'm going to use Crushing Weight, and I will use Knock Out the Support. I'll make sure he goes as quick as possible as well, so he'll go at 20. So since we only have Zealots on here right now, only the Zealot card will be revealed. And that one is Drain Life. So they're going to heal, they're going to move, and then possibly attack with range. And they're going to go at 27, so this means Hatchet, then the Demolitionist, and then the Zealots will go. So Harry will go first. And what he was going to do was he's going to use the move 5 to go 1, 2, 3. And then using the attack, this means that where he's standing is in the gray, and he can attack 2 that are side by side to each other. So he can actually hit both of these for 3. So we will do the first Zealot here, number 3, and he hits him for 3 plus 1 is 4. On number 3, so that's 4 of 6. And then on number 6, he hits him for 2. 2 on 6. And now it is Danny's turn here. And what he was going to do is use this Knock Out the Supports to move 2. Oh, okay. I forgot he had to destroy an obstacle to get that bonus, but that's okay. He'll move 2. 1, 2. And then he will attack 3. And then I can add +2 attack and gain 1 experience. This is one of the new rules. If the target is adjacent to a wall. And this guy is adjacent to the wall here, so he's going to hit him for 5. Plus his modifier. So that's 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. They have health of 6, so he's gone. First one's knocked out. And that is Danny's turn. So now we go to the Zealot. So we see he's going to heal 1 self. So we'll do that first. So the 2 becomes a 1. So we always say focused first. So he's going to focus on the nearest enemy, which is him. So he can move up to 3 spots away. So he's going to move in such a way to get out of disadvantage because it is a ranged attack. So he will move to here, because if he moves here, he doesn't get out. There's an obstacle here. He can't go to the door. So he's trying to make it so that he's not disadvantaged. And now he's going to attack for 2 plus -1 is 1. This is the monster deck here. So he is going after Harry there and hits him for 1. So his health goes down to 7. That's the end of the first round. So for our second turn, what I'm going to do is have Harry here use Center Mass and double throw. And Danny is going to use this new wind up as well as this 1-2 punch. He's going to try to go fast, but he's going to be a little bit slow here at 66. So let's find out. Oh, we had to shuffle because of the symbol there. Now we'll find out what the last remaining Zealot is going to do. And he's going to try to move and then attack with poison. So this is now a melee attack. So he is going to try to get back within range to whoever he's focused on. However, he is number 77. So that does put Danny in before him. So the order stays the same. So now Hatchet can go first. So he's going to add +1 attack to all of his attacks this turn. And then he's going to attack 3 with a range of 3. So now that's 4, and he's within range of 2 there. So this is a hit of 4 plus. Ooh, critical hit. So that makes it 8 plus 1 is 9. So that now eliminates that Zealot. So that means he drops a coin here. And I just realized I forgot to pick up the other coin, which I believe was right here. All right, so now it is Danny's turn, and he was hoping to get some hits in there, but that's okay. His turn is still very good. So he is going to use the bottom here, attack 1. There's nowhere to attack, but he can loot 1, so 1 away from his area. So that does mean he can pick up both of these coins. And then here's something new again. So here we are using these tokens that come into play, and what this is on your next 2 attacks he can add +2 to the attack. So we take one of these tokens. I still haven't punched these out. We actually add it to up here in his active area. We put the token there, and that will help us remember how many turns he still has that. As well as when he completes the second one there, you will again see that experience symbol, and he will add 1 experience to his character. So that's Danny's turn, the Zealot's turn, but they don't exist anymore. So now we go back to our turns for the next turn. So now we are going to want to try to get to this door and open up this area. So a few things to comment here already is we can already see we're going to have a few more enemies. There's going to be a treasure chest, traps, and money. But the big thing is this purple. This is new. This is what they call difficult terrain. So it takes 2 movement points for every hex that you are in that zone. So normally it would take 1 to move. It'll actually take 2 to go in and then out. So now we'll figure out our next cards. So for Danny here, I'm going to try to get him to move fairly quickly, or make several moves with that one. And I wouldn't mind if he had ranged attack, but I don't like that disposal there. So I might just have to instead use this move 3 and then use the ranged attack there. And then for Harry, so he's going to use this favorite and this stopping power. So at this point, we actually don't have any enemies on the board, so we don't pull one of the cards out until they are revealed. So in this case right now, we have Hatchet still going first, and then Danny the Demolitionist. So Harry here, he's got these 2 cards. So I'm going to use the bottom here to move 3. 1, 2. So now we're on a door. So we actually have to stop and populate this room at this point. So now we populated this room, and we are also on number 1 here. So we are told to read part 1 of the flavor text. You burst into the cargo hold, and a foul smell hits you in the face. A river of sticky black liquid flows through the ship, pouring between the various cracks of the hull. The source appears to be beyond the far door, but first you have to fight your way past more ruffians and their pets. So that's what we have there. So he had a movement. So now we're back to our turn. Oh, and now that we have a Zealot, we have to pull that card, and they're going to go on initiative 46. So So that does put him after our guys. And now we also have some giant vipers, and they will go at 43. So that will put them ahead of the zealots. So now we can go back to Harry's turn here. He had a move of 3 and he moved 2 already. So he can move 1 more. So he is going to move to there. And that now puts him within range here with his attack 3, with a range of 3. So he's going to try to hit this zealot for 3. We had to still shuffle his cards. So he has a attack of 3. -1 is 2 onto number 2. Oh, sorry, number 5. And that's his turn. And now Danny gets to go. And I was really hoping 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, that works actually. Okay. Slight change of plans. That's the thing with this game, is sometimes you have a thought of what you want to do, and when you get there, it doesn't actually work anymore. So what he's going to do is he's going to use this card for the move of 3. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. I kind of wanted him here as well to be within range. But 1, 2, 3, 4, he's still within range of this Viper here for an attack of 2. And because his next 2 attacks, he gets a +2. So we move that for this attack. So it's actually an attack of +4 on this Viper, and completely whiffed. So that was Harry's turn. Now we go to the giant vipers. So what they are going to do is they're going to move +1. So they already have a move of 2, so that's going to be 3, but they can jump. And then they will attack all adjacent enemies with -1, so a 0, but modified. Okay, so a few new items as well is that they do have the jump. So what that means is that they could actually jump over the enemy, and we'd have that ability too if we had a jump ability. As well as when he goes through the difficult terrain, he's jumping over it, so it's not difficult terrain for him anymore because he's jumping over it. So with this move of 3, he can go 1, 2, 3. That's where he'd want to go. And he can even jump over traps. He's basically making one big leap, boom, to here. And then his thing was attack -1, so it's actually 0, but he will target all adjacent enemies, so he will hit us both. So we start with Hatchet, so 0 plus -2, so he missed. As well as for Danny is -1, so again he missed. Now this one will get to go. He also will have a move of 3. Now he'll try to get to them. If he were to land here, he would set off the trap. The monsters are considered smarter than that. So we are simply trying to move him 3, not worrying about the difficult terrain, and get him as close as we can. So they both seem to be just as far apart. So then in this case, he will focus on Hatchet. So moving 3 spaces, he'll go 1, 2. Now he's not going to go here because he'd set off the trap. So he'll go here for 3. Now he's not adjacent to anybody, so he won't attack. And now we go to the Zealot. They're going to attack +1 with range of 2. Well, this one Zealot is not within a range of 2, and he would have muddled as well, but nobody's within his range. It doesn't say to move, so he doesn't move just because the card gives him moving abilities. So that's the end of that round. I think we kind of got off a little bit lucky there. So we move on to the next round, and now it's a little bit easier again because we're down to 2 cards each. Now I'm starting to wonder if we should have rested. Well, the door was closed, but we didn't. So we're just going to try to get our characters to move as fast as possible at 42 and 46. Now we do have a few shuffle icons. And now we can flip over the monster cards, and the Vipers are going to go at 18, so they're going to go pretty quick. Again, they can move and jump, and this time they're going to attack again. Pretty weak attack though. That is correct. The last one here, so I'm backing up here for a second, also has the poison ability, which does mean both of our characters are now poisoned. Just because they didn't make a hit does not negate the poison. So now on each of our characters we have a poison icon. What that means is every hit will be +1 until they heal. They don't, and if they use any healing ability, their first thing is the poison comes off before you can heal any health. However, looking at this, I do see we're going to get a few more wounds, a few more hits on us against the poison, so I just might not want to worry about that right now, because if I were to try to cure that with our 1 healing potions each, and then the next attack we just get poisoned again. You can only have 1 poison on you at a time. And now we still have to do the Zealot, and he is going at 27. We've seen this card already. So now we look. This time the enemies are going first, starting with the Viper, then the Zealots, and then we have Danny, and then Harry. So the giant Vipers will go first. They're trying to get within range. So this one is already within range. So he's just going to attack for 1 plus -1 is 0. So he will first go for Danny. So he missed Danny, and now he will go for Harry, and he also missed Harry. So again, if they weren't poisoned, they would now be poisoned as well. And now this Viper can go. He can move 3 spots. Oh, they do have jump. So then he is going to try. So he's going to focus here, but he's going to try if he can get within these guys. This door is now open, so he can go 1, 2, because he has jump, he can jump over him, 3. And now he's going to target both of them as well. So again, starting with Danny at 0. So he missed Danny. And now Harry, he hits him for 1. So Harry is at 7 and will now go down to 6. And now the Zealot will go, and he is going to heal himself 1. He is going to move up to 3 spots, and then he's going to attack with range. So in that case, he's going to try to get within range of 2, so he's got to get to at least here. That's going to cost him 2 movement points, but that's okay. He has 3. And now he attacks for 2 minus 1 is 1, and he will target Harry for 2. Oh, that is the wrong deck. There are several decks here that make it kind of difficult. The sad part is he would have had a +1 on his next attack. We go to over here, the monster deck. So again, we were at attack of 2, minus 1 is 1, +1. So Harry gets hit for 2, and he is down to 4. It's a bit of a problem now for Harry. I probably should have looked at my studded leather there. But too late. Okay, so now we are on to Danny's turn. So his cards are here. So in that case, I don't have a whole lot of health. However, I think I'm going to have him stun one of them. So I need to grab the stun token. And then he will stun number 4 of the giant vipers, which means that he cannot perform actions until end of his next turn. And then he will attack 3 and muddle, if needed, the Viper number 2. So he has 3 plus 1 is 4, which is enough to eliminate this one here. And I will not forget the coin this time. And now it is Harry's turn. And what I think he's going to do is he's going to move this one, and he's going to move to here and get this loot. And then he will attack for 1, range of 3. So they're both within range, and he can target up to 3 as well as muddle them. So we'll start with the Zealot here first. Oh, it would be nice if that +1 was back at top. Hey, it is. Okay, good. So he hits him for 2. He already had 1, so that brings him to 3 out of 6. And now he is also muddled. And just to remind you, muddle means he's disadvantaged on all attacks, and it is also removed at the next turn. And then he will hit this Viper for 1 plus 1. So he hits him for 2 out of 3, so that's pretty good. And he is also muddled. So at this point I'm wondering if I should be using my healing potion, but probably not. So now that's the end of the round. So we will do our shuffling beforehand like we're supposed to. It's one thing that I always seem to forget. Okay. And now our characters will need to short rest or long rest, but with enemies right on top of them. Might be a stupid move. This guy's not going to do anything this turn because he is stunned. He can attack, but I think I also want to show you guys the long rest. So I am going to long rest both my characters. It's probably not the smartest move, but this will also show you what a long rest does. I don't believe I've done one yet. So we are both on initiative 99, so we will be last. We will reveal the Vipers. He's going to move at 43, but as we already know, he's not actually going to do anything. It's just because he's the last one left. And the Zealot will go at 19. Oh, and he is going to curse. Okay. So the Zealot will go first. And he'll be actually the only one going this turn. So he will move. He has a melee attack because it doesn't say range. His move is 2, so he's going to move the 1. And then he is going to attack, so he has an attack of 2 minus 1. We did not. No, we did not. So that makes it 1, and he nulled. Perfect timing for all that. However, he does curse, which is something new again. So what that means is he attacked Harry here. So he's going to get this curse card go into his deck, and basically what it is another null into his deck. So that is going to get shuffled right on in. And when that gets pulled, then it does come out, or at the end of the scenario, it will come out. So that could come back to bite us later in the scenario. But other than that, nothing else bad happened with the long rest. That's pretty good. So now our characters get to go. And with a long rest, instead of picking one card at random, they get to choose a card to lose for the rest of the scenario. Try to create a little bit more room here. So let me figure that out and come right back to you. So I have decided for Danny, I am going to just get rid of this Implode more because it's a very slow card. And then he does get his other 7 cards back. And then for Harry, I've decided to get rid of this Disorientating Barrage. I hope I'm saying that right. And he also gets the 7 cards back. Oh, he does not get the one. Sorry, Danny doesn't get the wind up yet because he hasn't used both abilities on that card. So he actually only got 6 back. The other thing is when you long rest, you get to heal 2 hit points. However, because our characters are poisoned, we instead get to remove the poison. And now we can resume our next turn. One other thing I forgot was to also remove these conditions at the end of the enemy's previous turn. Not that I think it's going to matter too much right now. So I'm going to have Danny here use these two cards here. Again, I want to make sure he goes as quick as possible, so 22. I'm really hoping he gets to go before the Viper, because I don't want to be poisoned again. And for Harry, I want some healing. There's nothing to... Maybe he needs to wait with the healing, because I want to make sure these enemies get knocked out. So I will use the retrieval. This double throw. Yeah, let's double throw. Okay, so now because we still have one monster each, the Vipers will go at 33. So good, Danny does go before him. And the Zealots will go at 77. So let's get these in that order. Demolitionist at 22. And I do believe, yes, the Viper will go next. Then the Zealots, no, Hatchet, and then the Zealots. I really do like this system in the game, a little bit extra just to help you keep organized. When we were playing with 4 characters with my group in the big Gloomhaven box, as well as then we typically have like 4 enemies, it became very difficult to remember who went next. So I really like this extra feature that they've given us in this Jaws of the Lion, and I really hope that they will do the same thing with the new Frosthaven coming out next year. So again, Denny here gets to go first, and he is going to do this one first, move 2, and then one adjacent enemy that is adjacent to a wall will suffer 2 damage. So he's just going to move the 1. The Viper here is next to the wall, so he's going to take 2 damage, so that is going to eliminate him. And he will drop a coin. And then he will use the top here. So an attack of 2 onto the Zealot with the extra 2 there makes it 4. And nulls it. Now this card has been used up, so it will go into the discard pile. But now he does gain 1 experience point. The fact that it was even nulled doesn't matter. And now he still gets an attack of 1 on him. So even though it tells us to shuffle, you shuffle at the end of their turn. So again, he missed. Push 2 and muddle if this attack targets the same enemy as the previous attack. So at least he will be muddled. Add push 2. Oh, nice. Okay. So he can push, and it just has to go further away from Danny. So what I will do is I will push him into this trap, and that will cause 3 damage on him right off the bat, which will make it 6, and he is now gone. Not the way I planned on taking him out, but I will take it. All right, and now it is Harry's turn. So now he's not going to be attacking anything, but so what he could do is just use the bottom here to move. Oh no, that doesn't work either. All right, he's going to be greedy. He is going to move 1 to take this coin. And he can't do anything on the tops there. So that is the end of the round. There are no enemies left. We are going to try to at least get this treasure chest and maybe this coin. So now we're just looking for a lot of movements. I'm also thinking now would be the time. I could use it at any time, but I'll just do it now. because it was his turn. During your turn, perform a heal 3 self action. And what this means is we flip the card over and we do not get to use it for the rest of this scenario, but we will still have the potion for the next scenario. So then his health will go from 4 to 7. So at least he's a bit healthier. Danny is still at 8 health. He hasn't actually been hit yet. So now we're going to work on moving as fast as we can. So I'm just looking for my big movements. I can see nothing else is really going to happen the next few turns anyway. So here he's got a movement of 5. And then who cares about the top here? So there we have Hatchet, then the demo, and there's no enemies on the board yet. So Hatchet will go first, and he will simply move 5. So it will be 2, 3, 4. And he wants to stop there because he does want to get the treasure. So again, I won't show you the book to not spoil anything, but it does tell me that this is treasure chest 10. And so now he gets Faithful Compass, item number 27. So these are all the different item cards that you can get. These are the ones that we couldn't purchase. They are the same as these, but if you remember from the last one, we could put 1 through 13 into the store. However, this is telling us to grab item number 27, which is going to be a Fateful Compass. So he actually found this, and number 27 shows Fateful Compass. During your turn, force one enemy within a range of 3 to perform a move 2 action with you controlling the action. So this here pouch thing means he can only have one pouch thing on him until they're level 3, and then they can actually hold 2. So every time in between scenarios, he's going to have to choose which of these 2 items, the healing potion or this, that he wants to actually take into the battle. So we'll just set this aside. And then the top half he can't do anything with. So now we go on to Danny's turn. Oh, he had moved. Yeah, he had moved to the 5. And now he is going to move 4. I do feel like there's quite a bit of time left with only 2 enemies left in this scenario. So I think he is going to try to go for this money here. So he will move 4, but he'll use his boots here as well to make it 5. So the boots here, weathered boots, say during your movement, add +1 move to a single movement, and then this says to rotate it. So you can only use it once. When you long rest, like we had just done, this would also come back. So we're going to use it now. So he'll have 5 movements. So he'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And the top half he can't do anything with. So that will get discarded. And now we go to our next turn. So he'll go there. Doesn't really matter what I do here. He'll go there. So this time the Demolitionist gets to go first because he has 20. So he is going to go ahead and just move 3 to get this coin. So he'll have to stop here. And the top half he can't do anything with. Harry, in the meantime, will get to move 3. I don't want to lose this card quite yet. So he'll get to move 3, so he'll go 1, 2, 3. So he's ready to open that door. And again, the top half he can't do anything with. So now I'm starting to see maybe I shouldn't have quite used this potion yet, but I think it's not going to be too much of an issue. So since, again, there's no enemies on the board, both our characters have to rest. There's no reason not to long rest this time. So they will both long rest. So that means his boots will come back. And they will heal too, but he's already at full health. In the meantime, Harry can heal 1 up to his maximum of 8. And we will once again get to choose a card to take out of our decks. So for Danny, I have decided to get rid of this Wind Up. It's one of the new cards. And for Harry, I have decided to get rid of this Double Throw. And now that we're ready to move into the next room, I'm not so afraid about using these Lost Ability cards. In fact, I'll probably be looking to try to use 1 or 2 here. Alright, so now it goes back to our turn. So I think I'll take that one. That was supposed to be shuffled, so let's do that. And then for Harry, I do want him to move into that room fairly quick. And then try to do some damage. If I just get him to open that door. Maybe I don't want to move in too quick. Maybe I'll do this, and then I can show you the favorite as well. All right. So Harry will get to go first. So he is going to move 3. No, he's going to move 3 here. So 1 can go into the door, and since we're on number 2, it now tells us to read part 2. The smell gets even worse when you finally open the door to the back cabin. More of these robed madmen are performing some sort of incantation over an altar piled high with several limbs and unidentifiable mounds of flesh. With the flies buzzing and the strange guttural howls, all you want to do is get as far away as possible. But you have a job to do, so you commence with the killing. Okay, so you used 1 movement point, so this is again a difficult terrain, so that's going to cost 2, so then he's used the 3. He can't push anybody because he's not adjacent to anybody, but now he's going to have this favored. So the favorite says, place 1 of your character's token on this card. You may add a +3 to any of your ranged attacks by moving the token from this card to the target after the attacked ability is resolved. When the target dies, place the token on the hex in which it died. If you loot that hex, return the token to this card. So he's going to get 2 experience for playing this card. This is going to stay down, and then it will be lost eventually. So this is the token for him. And then he does gain 2 experience for having played that card. Okay, so that finished his turn, but I still have to populate the room. So there is 1 Zealot, and then there is 1 Elite Viper. So that means we will now pull over their cards, and the Viper is going to go at 43, and the Zealot is going to go at 46. So the Viper will go after Danny, and then the Zealot. So Danny didn't have a whole lot he could do. He is going to move 4, but he will use his boots to make it 5. So he will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And he has nothing beside him, so he cannot attack yet. So now the Giant Viper will go, and he's an elite 1. So he's going to move +1, so he will have a movement of 3, and with the jump ability. And he is trying to get adjacent to characters. He's melee attacking. So he can go. He will focus on Harry. So he could go here or here. Maybe what I'll do is I'll have him go here. So now it becomes player's choice. Because then this way Danny can maybe focus on the Viper the next turn. So he will attack him. 4, 2, minus 1 is 1. And he nulled. So he missed. However, he still poisons Harry. And now the Zealot will go, and he is going to do a ranged attack within a range of 2, and Harry is within range now. I guess when I opened that door, I wouldn't have quite gone that way. I should have actually populated and flipped these cards over. In which case he would have made sure to go this way instead and go for the Viper first. But in my opinion, when you mess up a rule and it's against you, that's just too bad. So he will hit him for 2 plus 1 is 3. Oh, now would be the time actually to use the studded leather. When attacked, before drawing an attack modifier card, the attacker gains disadvantage for the attack, and you gain 1 shield for the attack. So then we have to exhaust that card. So he's going to pull over 2 with disadvantage. So he's got -0 and -0, so it's still an attack of 3, but the shield will protect 1. So now it is only a hit of 2. So the 8 goes down to a 6. However, he is also muddled. Oh, plus the poison. So now he is down to 5. And that is the end of that round. So while I was shuffling a few of these decks off camera, I also realized Harry was attacked by the elite. Oh no, that's the elite Zealot. So now he is also wounded, which means at the start of each of his turns, he's going to take 1 more damage. So at this point, Harry's in a world of hurt with quite a few conditions there. So we have to try to get rid of these enemies as fast as possible. And one other thing I'm also realizing is I have forgotten to put a coin there at the start. Okay, so Harry is going to do these 2 cards. And for Danny, perhaps he'll do the 1-2 punch, and he needs to move and as fast as possible. So there. So now we flip over the monster cards, and the Vipers are going to move at 58. And the Zealot is going to move at 27. So in this case, we have Danny go first, then the Zealot, then Hatchet, and the Viper. So Danny gets to go first, and he's hoping to get rid of this Viper. So he's going to move 1 with this. I think that is the better choice. And then he's going to do the 1-2 punch. So he's going to hit him for 2, plus -1 is 1. And then he's going to hit him for 1, plus 1 is 2. So that makes it 3. So he's not quite dead because he is the elite. However, he can push him for 2. So he gets to push him for 2, but again, with the push in the difficult terrain, it doesn't count. So this would still only be 1, and then we'll make it 2. And then he is also muddled as well. At least he managed to push him back a bit. Okay, so that was his turn. Now the Zealot will get to go. He is going to heal 1, but he had no health yet. He is going to move up to 3 spots, and he is looking for a range of 2, so he's not even going to move. He is going to attack for 2. -1 is 1. So he does hit Harry for 2 because of the poison. Brings him down to 3. And now Harry gets to go. So on his turn, at the start of his turn, he will take another hit. This is not looking good for him. Okay, so what he is going to do is he is going to range attack this Zealot for 3. Since he's using the ranged attack, this token will now go on that one, making it a +3 for a total of 6. So not likely that will eliminate him right here, but oh, of course. Completely whiffed. That is really, 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 really bad. So now all he can do is move 1 and loot. Oh, and he would have drawn 2. Oh, even worse. He was supposed to draw 2 because of the muddle, and he has to take the worst of the 2. So he still nulls it. So that didn't actually change anything, but then this one is gone at this point. Wow, I just cannot believe his luck. And then the giant... Oh, no, I don't want to do that. Sorry, I have to go back. I have to. Because the giant viper was not going to be within range, so he's not going to even move. So now the giant viper is going to go. He can move 2 -1 is 1, so he can only move here. And then attack +1 and immobilize, but it's melee, so he's nowhere near, so he doesn't get hit yet. So at this point, he'll try to heal and move back just to survive for now. In the meantime, Danny's going to have to move up and do some damage and take the brunt of the rest of the hits. Now we have to see what the monsters are going to do, and the Viper is going to move with jump and then target 2. He's looking for melee. And the Zealot is going to do that healing, move, and looking for a ranged attack. So then we have Hatchet going first, then the Demolitionist, then the Zealot, and then the Giant Viper. So Hatchet really needs to heal himself, because right off the bat he's going to take 1 hit because of that wound. So now he is going to heal 3 self, and he's not actually going to be able to heal himself, but instead he does get rid of these conditions. And then he can move 4 and loot 1. The Viper can jump. So just in an attempt to save him, he's going to go to back here. So that is a move of 3, so that means I did use the bottom. Now he can loot 1, but there's nothing there, and he does lose this card. Which means he does not have a whole lot of turns left either. So now Danny gets to go. I'm still deciding what I want to do here. I kind of wanted to use the big one and hit them both. At the same time, if I do this, he'll gain experience. Because right now, Danny himself is looking pretty good. So I do think I will use the move 3 here. So that's 2, 3 to get into the thick of the action. And then do the attack 3 and then add 2 since he's against a wall and gain 1 experience. So that will make it an attack of 5. I think I will do the Viper just to get rid of him, hopefully. but he does get the experience. So it's an attack of 5 on the Viper. Make that 6. Plus 3 is 9, so the Viper is gone. And now that the Viper is gone, this doesn't matter anymore. There are no more Vipers. And now just the Zealot will go, and he's going to heal oneself. He's going to move up to 3 steps, trying to get within range. So he could go here, but that would be disadvantaged. He doesn't like that, but he could go 1, 2, 3, and then he's not disadvantaged. And then he can go for Danny there with an attack of 2 minus 1 is 1, modified, and he missed. And now I do see I made another mistake. Sorry, there's a lot of little rules to this game. As you can see, they start to accumulate, especially when you're playing solo. I had earlier Harry be wounded with the Zealot here, but it's a regular Zealot. So if anything, again, I just hurt myself. But in this case, then there's no poison or anything. So he doesn't hit Danny at all. So now we have just the 1 to shuffle. And then our characters are going to short rest this time. So that means this does not flip back over. And we have to pick one at random. And he loses that card, giving him back 5 cards. Hatchet does the same thing. Get rid of this one. And he gets back these 3 cards. So he doesn't. So he does not have a whole lot of health left in terms of health and cards. I think he's just trying to hang on for Danny to finish the job. He's going to do his best to try to get rid of him. And he'll take these 2 cards. I do want him to go after just in case. So what I'm thinking is having him move here and then use that attack, which would put them equally apart, at least for now. Except he's going to move. Yeah, he's going to move anyway. So that doesn't matter. Yeah, we'll leave it like that. So now we can go to the Zealot, see what they're going to do. He's going at 77. So then it will be Hatchet, and then the Demolitionists, and then the Zealots. So Hatchet is going to go first. He is going to move up to 5 spaces. So that's 1, 2, 3. And then he's going to do a range of 3. An attack of 3, range of 3. Now he gets the critical. That 6 knocks him right out. And the whole goal was to kill all enemies. However, we still get to finish the round. So in this case, the Demolitionist here is going to try to get as much extra gold as he can. He's only going to get 1 anyway, so he'll just move here, take the 1 gold, and that is the end of the scenario. So let's read the conclusion. It certainly doesn't give you pleasure sifting through the human remains on the altar, but it does end up proving useful in between the bouts of vomiting. You find a necklace, one Sandy described in detail as never leaving the neck of her husband. With this in hand, you can bring at least some peace to the blacksmith's widow and inform the city guard about the whole situation. Still, you have a sneaking suspicion this isn't the end of the trail. These robed men were certainly all underlings, which means Roland is still out there. One could make the argument that this is the city guard's job, but you search the cabin of the ship anyway and find a curious map. It is a crude depiction of the boiler district, and one building is clearly marked. Surely it couldn't hurt to check it out. So the reward, each character gains 1 perk, and then a new location, a ritual in stone, number 4. So what the perk thing means is on our character sheets here, we get to choose 1 perk. So basically, for most of these, I believe, you basically get to modify your modifier deck. So hopefully you can make it better for yourself. The one thing, of course, is you can never remove the original curse. We never did see the curse card come out of here, but whatever that null card is called, you can't remove that one. But then you can do whatever perk you decide to do. So I'll do that in between the scenarios. So for completing this scenario, we also get 2 gold per token. So Danny there's found 8 gold and Hatchet found 4. So that will add in addition to what they were already holding of 4 each there. They will also get 6 bonus experience for having successfully completed the round, as well as Danny gets +2 for the experience he collected during, as well as Harry. So that brings us to the end of this 3rd scenario. We will continue again with scenario 4, and I hope you'll join us again next time, and come play with meeples.